John Foley's story is nothing short of jaw-dropping. He was once riding high as the co-founder and CEO of Peleton, a fitness brand that exploded in popularity during the pandemic. But success can be fragile. What happens when things go from incredible highs to brutal lows? Foley's tale is one of resilience, a stark reminder of how quickly fortunes can change. From nearly $2 billion in net worth to losing nearly everything, this is the story of how John Foley's world unraveled. Back in the early days of the pandemic, when gyms were closed and the world was on lockdown, Peleton seemed like a beacon of hope for those looking to stay fit. People were desperate to exercise, and Peleton's sleek bikes and interactive classes became all the rage. Everyone wanted in. The company's valuation soared to a whopping $50 billion. Yes, $50 billion. John Foley was at the center of it all, steering Peleton to dizzying heights. He had created something people didn't just want, they needed it. And for a while, it felt like Peleton was unstoppable. Foley himself was worth almost $2 billion. Life must have seemed like a dream come true, right? But as we know, nothing lasts forever. The pandemic-fueled demand started to fizzle out. People who were once stuck at home, eager to hop on their Peleton bikes, began going back to gyms. They didn't need an expensive piece of home equipment anymore. The tide was turning, and it wasn't in Foley's favor. Everything started to crumble faster than anyone could have predicted. Peleton wasn't just facing declining sales, it was getting hit by a wave of bad press. Injuries and even deaths linked to Peleton treadmills and bikes sent shockwaves through the media. There were product recalls, further damaging the company's reputation. Then came an unexpected blow from the entertainment world. Remember the Sex and the City reboot, and just like that? In the premiere episode, a beloved character, Mr. Big, dies of a heart attack while riding a Peleton bike. That episode alone sent Peleton Stock into a nosedive. People were associating Peleton not just with fitness, but with tragedy. It wasn't fair, but it was happening. Foley was stuck in the middle of it all. As the CEO, the weight of Peleton's struggles was squarely on his shoulders. Investors were furious, the board was restless, and whispers of layoffs were making headlines. In February 2022, the pressure became too much. Foley was ousted as CEO of the very company he'd built from the ground up. Can you imagine? Going from being at the top of the world to watching everything slip through your fingers. Brutal. Now here's where the story gets really tough. John Foley, once worth nearly $2 billion, started to watch his fortune evaporate. Most of his wealth was tied up in Peleton stock, and as the stock continued to plummet, so did his net worth. At one point, he reportedly had to sell his $55 million waterfront mansion in the Hamptons. But that wasn't all. Foley had to sell off many of his other possessions just to stay afloat. We're talking homes, cars, personal items, almost everything. The man went from living the high life to having to cut back in ways he probably never imagined. Foley himself admitted it wasn't easy. He said in an interview that his family took it well, with his wife being incredibly supportive and his kids adjusting to a more grounded lifestyle. Can you imagine explaining that to your kids? Going from private jets and luxurious homes to something far more modest? It's a stark reminder that no matter how much money you have on paper, it can disappear faster than you think. Foley was riding a wave of success that many of us dream of, only to have it crash down around him in a matter of months. But this isn't just a story about loss. Foley didn't stay down for long. Even after such a dramatic fall, Foley isn't the kind of guy to sit around feeling sorry for himself. He's a builder at heart. In the wake of losing nearly everything, Foley launched a new venture, Ernesta, a made-to-order rug company. It's a far cry from the high-tech fitness world of Peleton, but it's something he's passionate about. Foley has admitted that he's working harder than ever, trying to rebuild what he's lost. He jokes about being hungry and humble, but there's a truth to it. Starting from scratch after such a public downfall can't be easy, but Foley seems determined to do it. Ernesta is still in its early days, but Foley is no stranger to building something from the ground up. What's fascinating about Foley's story is that despite everything, he still believes in his ability to bounce back. He's pouring all his energy into this new venture, hoping it can be as successful as Peleton once was. Maybe it will be, or maybe it won't. But what's clear is that Foley isn't giving up. He's taking the lessons he learned from his time at Peleton and applying them to Ernesta, hoping for a second shot at success. John Foley's story is a reminder that life can change in an instant. One minute you're on top of the world, the next, you're watching everything fall apart. But here's the thing. Foley didn't let his losses define him. Instead, he's starting over, rebuilding from the ground up with Ernesta. He's not chasing the same heights he reached with Peleton, but he's doing what he does best, creating, building, and moving forward. So, what do you think? Can Foley make a comeback? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you like this story, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, make sure to hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our future videos. We've got more stories like this coming your way, and trust me, you won't want to miss them.